said that just now. That has not changed.
Putin sees NATO expansion. He sees Ukraine and NATO as an existential threat. And because he sees it as an existential threat, he's unwilling to compromise. Many people think that in Alaska, what Trump can do is work out a deal with the territory swap, where there's a ceasefire to start with, and so forth and so on, and the Russians will make this accommodation and that accommodation. That's not true. The Russians have laid out their demands from the very beginning. They have not wavered at all. And the reason they have not wavered is because they view Ukraine as an existential threat. We, on the other hand, in the West, don't see things that way. We think that that Putin was just aggressive. He didn't get all he wanted, but we can work out a deal with him. I don't think that's a description of reality. I think, again, you understand, Ukraine has to be a neutral state. There can be no Western security guarantees to Ukraine, but we refuse to accept that. The Ukrainians refuse to accept that, and that's why we're in an impasse today.
Matt, thus I wanted to ask you, back in 2013 and 2014, on Democracy Now!, we had the Russia expert Stephen Cohen on many times, and he...
The view is valid for the first world, but many third world countries see in many world... But for many third world countries, Russia is seen as the underdog fighting the hegemon and is supported more than ever today. I have this as well. I think it's an incorrect assessment. But yes, I have talked about this already. The pro-Palestine, pro-Russia position is very much alive in many parts of the world. Parts of the world that we don't take a look at or care about. But it is definitely a real thing. Russia sells this as a war against Western hegemony, and a lot of people see it like that. I keep trying to explain this to people, and they think I'm saying that they think I'm agreeing with that assessment. But yes, this is a very common position outside of the Western world. Seem as though that was my position recently.
Essentially said the same thing. In fact, he insisted that the president who was overthrown, Yanukovych, wanted to maintain the neutrality in the Maidan revolt in 2014, wanted to maintain the neutrality of Ukraine, but it was the against Russia. That's part of what then led to his the United States clearly backed. Wondering your sense of that. Do you think that Mexico reached a security agreement to station troops from those countries in its own country, or missiles from those countries in Mexico, that the United States would sit idly by?
Sure. I mean, all good questions. I mean, first, I want to just respond to something Professor Mearsheimer said. I mean, it's baffling to hear him claim that there's no evidence that Putin wanted to establish a new kind of Russian imperium. People look at that June 22 speech that I mentioned. He also, landed troops inside Kyiv in February 2022 as part of the failed effort to topple Ukraine's government. And install his, a friendly Russian government. Those Russian troops were not landed in Kyiv to go against.
I don't think it's unfair to say. It's not just like he has literally